Good morning, children. In my last video, I told you that we'll be doing a poem. So here we start with the poem The Darkling Thrush. Before we begin, I just want to introduce and tell you about something about Thomas Hardy, the poet of the poem. Thomas Hardy, one of the England's most acclaimed novelist, poet and dramatist. His work is a combination of Victorian and modern era. And you have to just remember that he was born on 2nd June 1840. He had a pessimistic view on life and love. And there are many poems which he wrote, like The Voice, The Man He Killed, The Oxen, The Binded Bird, and The Darkling Thrush. I have told you a few one. And children, when you will read about the poet, you will come to know that he loved to use natural scenes to bring out various themes of humankind. You can say alive to the past as a writer, he was very sensitive to the future. Hardy's lyrical poetry is his best known and most widely read. And moreover, he was influenced by a poet like Robert Frost. So this was something about the Thomas Hardy. Now children, we begin with the poem The Darkling Thrush. Darkling means growing dark, and thrush is a bird. You can note it down, a small medium-sized bird. It has spots and the back is brown in color, and it sings very loud. So like about the poem, in many points I have already mentioned in my video, but still the poem symbolizes passing of an era. It is an elegy, that means a mournful poem that deals with death. Here it is death of the century, that is end of 19th century, but it is also the dawn of the 20th century. So the poem is about hope in the face of despair, about endings and conscious beginnings, about courage when all seem lost. Now we start with the poem. Just see the very first line. I leant upon a copper's gate. Underline the word leant. For lent you can write rested or I took a support. Then comes copper's gate. Copper's gate you can write wooden gate. Wooden gate. Then frost, that is crystals of ice. And then spectre grey. Spectre grey, underline it. That means the appearance was as grey as a ghost looks. And then comes winter dredges. Winter's dredges means the leftover part of the ice or the season. Here it goes for winter, so it is season. You can underline and just write leftover part of something. Then comes desolate. Desolate is deserted, or you can write the other word bleak, that is emptiness. Then underline the word tangled vine stems. Tangled vine stems means twisted. You can say twisted stems of any plant. Broken lyres. Lyre goes for musical instrument. Underline. And then the word comes haunted. Haunted means as if it is a deserted place, and so the visit of ghost is common. That is why the poet has written like this. Then comes the word nigh. Nigh means near. Now children, after writing the word meanings, come to the explanation. In this, the poet just says that he is standing near a wooden gate in a very thoughtful mood. He is very sad. He feels loneliness. He thinks that the surroundings around him appear to look like ghost, appearance of a ghost, as there was no one. It was the end of the day. It is written in the line, the weakening eye of day. That means the sun was about to set. And the pine trees, the pine stems appear to touch the sky. But all the people, they were just roaming, those who were roaming in that bleak surroundings were just rushing to go back to their houses so that they can seek the warmth of their firesides. I hope the first stanza is clear to all of you. Now see the second one. The land's sharp features. Underline this. Sharp features. Just write the sharp outlines of the winter land. The century's corpus outlined. Underline this. Corpus means dead body. Outlined means stressed out. Then comes the word crypt. C-R-Y-P-T, that is tomb, T-O-M-B. Then canopy, C-A-N-O-P-Y. You can just write covering. Here it goes for ornamental cloth. Then comes wind its death lament. Underline it. Lament is a mournful song. Then comes ancient pulse of germ and birth. Underline this and write state from which things can grow. Shrunken, hard and dry means the seeds, they have become hard and dry. Shrunken means dried. Favorless, that is devoid, that is lack of passion. Intensity you can write. Now here in the second stanza, the poet just, when he sees the barren land, it appears as if it is dead body of the 19th century. That is, when he sees the canopy, it appears to him that it is dead body of the 19th century. The past century, children, is personified here, and the sound of the wind seems to look like a sorrowful song, which is mourning over the century's death. And reading the second stanza, we come to know that the death seems to be more stronger. That of the hope of new birth seems as if it doesn't have any existence. The seeds of spring are now purged. That means they have become dried. The pessimistic view of the poet is seen here. No spirit of newness. It appears as if there is no zeal. It is totally lifeless. And the enthusiasm is somewhere lacking in the poet. Proceed towards the third stanza, but before moving, I just want you to hear this sound. I think that you might have heard. This is the sound of thrush. As I have already told you the meaning of thrush. Thrush is a small bird which has brown spots on its breast, and the back is also brown, and it sings very loud. So first see the word meanings. At once a voice arose. Underline the word arose and just write burst out. Then comes the word bleak, that is dull and dark. Twigs. Underline the word twigs. Small leaves. Leafless branches. You can write small leafless branches of a tree. According to the poem I am telling you. Then the other word is full-hearted, that is whole-hearted. Even song, that is song sung in the evening. Then comes illimited, that is boundless, infinite you can say. And then frail, F-R-A-I-L, that is weak. Gaunt, thin. Blast, beruffled, that is underline the word blast, beruffled, and just write disordered and battered by the storm, that is destroyed by the storm. Then plum, that is feather. Then the other word is fling his soul. Underline it and just write pour out, pour out. Growing gloom, growing darkness. Now, as in the second stanza and the first stanza, you have seen that the poet is melancholy, in a melancholy mood. He is in thoughtful mood. He doesn't have any enthusiasm towards life. No zeal is left. So suddenly he hears the sound of a bird who is sitting on those bare branches above him. The bird is very small, old and weak, but the song she is singing is full of passion. It seems to express unlimited joy. And the poet is surprised. He says that how the bird sings in such a gloom. How can the bird sing in such a gloom? And even when he saw the bird looked frail and the feathers were broken. But still, it had such a happy voice and joyful voice, which the bird sang over the desolate landscape. So, here the bird is a symbol of happiness. The bird sings out with full-hearted, joyful mood, that is, joy which is unlimited. Now see the fourth one. So little cause for carolings. Underline the word carolings, that is singing of songs. And then underline it ecstatic sound, that is joyous sound. Then terrestrial things, that is earthly things. Underline the word afar, that is at a distance. Nigh means nearby. Happy good night air. Underline this, happy good night air, that is happy song which is meant to say good night to all. Blessed hope. Now blessed hope, that is hope of good future, that is with the grace of God you can say. I was unaware. That means the poet was not aware. So the last stanza of the poem is very interesting, where the poet is surprised to hear the beautiful song of the bird. He says that there is nothing such thing in the surrounding which can make the bird cheerful, and her spirit is full of joy. So he is really surprised. He wonders that how could it be possible for a bird to sing in such a gloomy atmosphere. The poet wonders that how could the bird sing so beautifully. in such a blissful manner. He says there's nothing such thing like on this earth, or there is nothing such earthly things which can make the bird so cheerful. He is not able to identify the truth, but then he says that maybe happy good night air, some blessed hope whereof he knew. He says that maybe he is just trying to convey a message of some blessed hope, a message sent by God, message of optimism and hope. Maybe the knowledge the bird has, that is why it's singing so beautifully. Otherwise, there is nothing in this surrounding or on this earth which makes the bird sing beautifully. In the last line also he says that, and I am unaware. That means he is not sure. He is not sure about who the bird is. How could the bird sing so beautifully? I hope the lines are clear to you all. Yes, children, after the explanation we come to the title. Now you can just note it down that the Darkling Thrush is also known by another title, By the Century's Deathbed. I think this will make it more clear to you all. By the Century's Deathbed. And as I told you in the beginning, that darkling means darkness or becoming dark. And so you can say that the title means the thrush that sang as the night was approaching. The Darkling Thrush means the thrush which sang the song as the night was approaching. Now the rest of the things, like one thing which is very important which you have to remember is that the poet is in pessimistic mood, but the thrush is filled with enthusiastic. You can say she was full of enthusiasm. Now we talk about the literary devices. Now we come to literary devices. Like literary devices, you can see in the video, like the poem is consist of 32 lines and is divided into 4 stanzas. And here the bird thrush stands for optimism and hope for the future. Although the bird is aged, but still it has the hope to live as compared to the poet. After reading the poem, we come to the conclusion that the poet is also an aged person, but he is not full of enthusiasm. He doesn't have the zeal in his life. He is worried about his death. But the bird, which is frail, all the feathers are torn, broken, not torn but broken, but still it has hope for the future to live in. So, like figure of speech, metaphor, alliteration, you will all find few examples I have given in the video. Now we come to critical analysis. The first 2 stanzas, as I told you, they are full of pessimistic tone. The poet is seen in the gloomy mood. And the 3rd stanza and the last one is full of optimism, where the thrush is full of zeal. And the song of the bird changes the tone and the mood of the poet. And the surrounding seems to change because it is the beginning of the 20th century. Now we come to the theme of the poem. And so theme of the poem, like number 1, you have to write desolation and gloom, where you have to mention about the speaker's, what the speaker sees, a death-haunted landscape and growing gloom. He is full of pessimism. And then the second theme will go hope and despair. In the third paragraph, you see the bird is full of hope towards the coming century. And then comes theme isolation, where you can see the loneliness of the poet. The poet is standing near the coppice gate and he is alone, because the people, those who are outside, are rushing towards their houses. Outside it was frost, so, and you can say nature also. Like in nature, you can write how the poet has applied beautiful words like ancient pulse, which refers to natural cycles. And then winter, he reflects on the life and the torment of the man to the turn of the century, how the man is in fear when he turns to the next century, that is 20th one. And then comes the irony. Irony means like where the poet contrasts human expectations with fate and reversal. Here he says that the bird stands for optimism and hope for the future, though the bird is aged thrush. On the second side, if you see the poet, who is also an aged person, but still he is full of pessimism. This is the irony. I hope all the things are clear to you now. I hope, children, you might have understood the poem. Any doubt, any kind of question, if you want to ask or if you want to say something, you can just write in the comment box. And this is a nature poem, you can say, and various questions come in the board exam also from the this one poem, and please go through it very carefully. Thank you so much.